Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. I like to sing to the earth, I like to hold her. She likes to sing to me, she likes to hold me. I like to sing to the earth, I like to hold her. She likes to sing to me, she likes to hold me. I carry fistfuls of leaves. I make love to the breeze. I carry fistfuls of bones. I trust they will lead me home. I carry grief on my wings. I know I caged birds sing. Through many turns of this moon, my women have suffered wounds. But my grandmother is with me. Close your eyes, can't you see? And my grandchildren are here. The rose, the crow, and the deer. I am surrounded by light, the light of stories. I need to quiet my mind, I need to listen. We are surrounded by light, the light of stories. We need to quiet our minds, we need to listen. Earth my body, water my body, air my breath, and fire my spirit. Water my body, water my spirit. Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit.
All yours, Susan.
Okay, thank you. Well, good morning, everybody, or wherever you are, whatever time it is, good, whatever that is. And it's really nice to see you all here. This has been, it's kind of really exciting. I can't wait to find out what's going to happen each week, because we always have our plan really airtight. Nothing could possibly go awry. And then we find out that there were other things. So it's good. This is good. It's very strengthening, and it's really what life is about, I think. Just before we begin, I want to remind you that this is the Wind Voices. This is coming to you from Grandmother's Circle of the Earth. And the River Sidon is our fiscal agent. And as Ann Tiller will testify, we are tightest ship on the planet. She still hasn't gotten her calendar, either has Ted, but Ted's are in the mail. I don't know where yours are, Ann. We're going to go back and try to retrace, but my fearless calendar keeper and I are on this. So if you're still waiting, if anybody else is still waiting, Daryl, I think you're just came in, so we're ready to send yours out this week. Artie and Laurel, they're waiting over there too. Is that what that means? Okay, good. We're on it. Putting it back into my little notes. Anyway, just so you know, many of them have gone out. Many of them have been received. Somebody wonderful in Hawaii, who I don't see on the call today, received 2. And I said, oh, that's fine. Just keep the second one. It could have been Ann's. And I said, don't worry about money. And she did. She sent it anyway. So everybody, we just want to know that we appreciate you and we appreciate the donations that you're making. And we're doing wonderful things with them. And we'll have a report for you pretty soon. So also this morning, I wanted to let you know that we had a board meeting for the Great Balance. And I know not everybody's familiar with that, but you can look it up online, thegreatbalance.org. And I'm vice president of that, which is really sketchy. I don't even know why they have me. I know they always wonder too. They're so beautiful. They work with the mamos up in the Sierra. And there's so many wonderful things happening, and there's some huge things happening. So I'll update you more on that next week. So with all that behind us now, as well as the little bit of confusion, we're going to move forward on our big ship, Grandmother Circle the Earth, into open waters. And we have the total blessing of having to be our presenter today, our beautiful elder, Barbara Brant. And I'm not going to say a lot about her because what we posted earlier says a lot, but what I really want you to do is learn from her who she is. I have my knowledge of her from having been able to work with her on different calls. I also have Ted Silverhand's comments that he has made to me about Barbara Brant and how much he respects her. And I've had her tell me how much fun they have when they travel, and I know how that goes. And so with all of that, we are really fortunate. She was just on last week with our Mother Earth Day event that we did with universities around the world, Australia and England and Peru. And her talk with Kevin Deere that she gave was just beautiful. So I'm grateful that we have her here. We have something really also important in common, and that is Sarah Smith, who is someone I didn't have the pleasure of knowing as well as Barbara, and I'm sure she'll mention her. But I do want to say that I believe that that's a deep connection that Barbara Brant and I share as well. So with that, I'm going to say welcome to everyone, and this is why we're here. Barbara, I'm going to pass it on to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wasn't sure what was going on there, but I was kind of lost in a waiting room somewhere. And so I was texting with Susan to try to link into everyone. So always a little bit of confusion just before important work. I'm very honored to be here this afternoon with each of you. And I will do the Ted Silverhand greeting. I trust I will offend no one. I trust I will not make a fool of myself. And I also trust that you all will bear with me. So Grandmother Sarah would always start by apologizing for her shortcomings. And I've been privy to have some beautiful people in my life. So, and I see Romola, and I'm looking for people I know. And well, if I don't know you, by the time we're done an hour and a half, I feel like we'll be best of friends. So I was talking with Susan, and she had thought perhaps we could consider doing a ceremony to start, which I felt she had listened to my thoughts upon waking up this morning. And as those floodgates opened and that water started coming through, I felt that the ancestors had much to say. And not too often do we have the forum we have this afternoon to be able to put that forward. So I want to thank Susan for bringing all of you to me and vice versa. I also want to thank the International Congress of Women's Group under Sandy Hart. And I know Joanna Shenandoah and I were able to assist her with some of her work along with Susan. So there's so many of you, and there's so many of you from different homelands presented here this afternoon. And of course, there's my teacher of over a decade, Ted Silverhand, grandfather. Also with us is Tom Porter, Kevin Deere, Sun Bear, Rolling Thunder, Twailanish, Grandmother Sarah Smith. These are some of the names that are coming through, and I'm really grateful when they allow me to know who's coming. And through me, the many that have brought me to this point. Don't ask me which point I'm at, but I did make it here on time to be able to sit with this group through the next hour or so. Oftentimes, the pause and the silence gives us all a moment to settle in and to realize that we will be in each other's company and in each other's comfort for the next hour and a half. As wisdom keepers, we all understand the virtue behind the duty and the commitment to serve. So I would like to honor that today. I would also like to dedicate and honor a woman by the name of Joanna Shenandoah. And a number of prayers went out over the past few years to assist her during a very challenging time. And we never forget how important that time was, where we almost lost her. We were thinking, if we lose Shenandoah across, if she transitions, what are we going to do? Because as an Indigenous peoples, we do not have many artisans of song and music and chants and callings. So a number of us worked really hard. And I did admit to her when we got together with the National Congress, I did admit to her and the women that, you know, Joanna, you know, you can blame me because I called you back. Oh yes, I yearned in my heart deep that we would have a little bit more time with her. And after many prayers, ceremonies, operations, and dealing with Western medicine and traditional medicine, we were very fortunate to have her return to us for a time. And I would like to honor her as we start with this first song. It's one of Joanna's songs, and it's one that has been near and dear to my heart. And with Joanna, we use her when we do our ceremonial work because her music and her gift is calling. The ancestors love her too. So whenever we present through Joanna's music, they come. Whenever we get together on a Sunday afternoon and spend time with each other, they come. And whenever we're able to remember our gifts, and I see a number on the screen in front of me, and I'm very humbled. I trust that I won't again embarrass myself. I want to acknowledge as well the ancestors, those special ones that we've all had love us so dearly and love us so compassionately through our time as learners. For we are both teachers and learners and teachers. I'm humbled to be given a forum this afternoon, to be coming to your homes through this TV, and to be able to give to you a little bit of something that was given to me through my life as a Mohawk woman. I value my clan, the clan of the turtle. I value my nation, our families, and the Confederacy. Under the watchful eye of Grandfather Ted Silverhand, Grandfather Tom Porter, Grandfather Kevin Deere, and the many other faith keepers with the Confederacy. Those clan mothers who are always there for us, the faith keepers, the chiefs. and Sungwaya Disma, the one that loves us forever. So we're going to start by calling in, and I would ask at this time that no screenshots be taken. I would also ask that each of you in your way put forward your thoughts, your open heart as we sing this song. And they say if one is honored, so are all. And so I put that to trust that the ancestors here in this moment and working through this humbled body will be able to have the feeling of joy as they look through my eyes to this screen. So we will honor the gifts, we will honor the women, the grandmothers, the aunties, the mothers, the earth mother, the moon grandmother, and all those who are so special and needed at this time.
Away, hey, away, 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 booyah, away, yo way ho, yo way ho, way ho. Away, hey, away, 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 booyah, away, yo way ho, yo way ho, way ho. Away, 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 booyah, away, yo way ho, yo way ho, way ho. Away, hey, away, 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 booyah, away, yo way ho, yo way ho, way ho. Away, 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 booyah, away, yo way ho, yo way ho, way ho. Away, hey, away, 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 booyah, away, yo way ho, yo way ho, way ho.
Grandmother Sarah would always say, remember me, Barbie. Don't forget me. And when you have spent time with a friend, a sister, a mother, a grandmother, head of her clan, a matriarch, an international recognized individual, and a grandma who just loved the pumpkin patch. It's very humbling, needless to say. She was a very She was a very special woman filled with so much unconditional love for all. And when she came to me and she said, Barbie, I had a dream. And then there was the realization the dream was me. Then there was the prayer touch in Hamilton on the mountain in 2006. We were anticipating her not being able to make it through that one. She did. She rallied through with the love of her family and summoned me to Hamilton Mountain. And I said, Grandma, I'm not sure if I'll be able to find you. And she said, well, look for me, Barbie. I'm there. Just, you'll find me. So I don't know if anybody's driven in Hamilton before, but there's a lot of one ways and you know, you can see where you want to go, but all of a sudden you can't get there. So Hamilton is kind of like that. So I made way to her, and it was a challenge. But I did get to Hamilton McMaster Hospital, and I did get in there and up to her room. And she had just recently been released from the ICU and the special care unit there into a side room, still yet under a lot of medical attention. So I went in that room and, come on, Barbie. And I could see when I went through the door, I could see that she had gone through an amazing struggle to live, a struggle to survive. And I really didn't know what I could do to bring her any comfort, to bring her anything really. But I thought I'll come over to the bed and I'll see what I can do. So I went to the bed and she was laying down. And then she, oh, Barbie, you found me, you made it. I said, yes, I did. And from that moment forward, my life changed immensely. She said, Barbie, there's work we have to do. And we have to do it in quiet and in private. No one is to know. And I thought, well, that's okay, because I really don't even know what I'm doing here. I really, you know, I came because she summoned me. When a grandmother summons you, you go. So I went. And so for me, it all started with a prayer touch to the top of my head. And then we had some time together and she gave her instructions, which I listened to very closely because I knew it was important. I did know that. If I knew anything, I knew that this is really important, what's happening here today. And I kind of knew that all along. Now, in March, 6 years ago, she transitioned into the spirit world, the land of the happy hunting ground, as she would call it. And now I look at this TV screen and I see everybody's faces. And I now know how important it was. And I want to thank you for being here with me this afternoon, with each other's, and with and for spirit. So having said that, I guess that's kind of how I got here. And I feel I owe you that explanation, because I really had no idea, because she was such a humble woman. And I was spending time with her, we were spending time together, and I was meeting people. But they always introduced me to the people by not the entire names of who they were, but by uncle or auntie. This is Uncle Doug Martinez. This is grandfather Leon Sacratero. This is Orville Looking Horse. This is Elmer Couchain. Elmer. So I never knew who I was sitting with. I only knew it was grandfather Elmer, grandfather Doug, grandfather Leon. And then it went from meeting these very special people to Rolling Thunder, Mad Bear, Sun Bear. And I remember asking my heart, my teacher, Ted, I said, Ted, how come these people are coming? I never knew them. Ted looked at me and kind of chuckled as he does and kind of laughed a little bit. And then the bear paw goes up and he says, Barb, think about it. And so I start thinking, and I'm trying to think hard, as students we do. And he said, who was Sarah's friend and who was Sarah's teacher? Barbie, who did I mentor under and with? Who was I a helper to? So the work we do and the work that's ahead of us is very important because it's not just about us. It's about so many. And without them, who would we be? Where would we be? And what would we be? So I like to acknowledge them when they come in. I like to acknowledge them now that I know how I know them. I like to acknowledge, and I almost thought maybe Ted was going to be able to get through the border today because the thunders were here and the clouds were coming in and the rain, and that always goes before he lands at the Peacemaker time, Denaga. And I thought, I guess he is here, just in a different way. But the process here at Peacelands is still the same, like he is about to arrive. So when Ted Silverhand and I met in the official, because I heard stories about the man long before I ever laid eyes on him. And so when we first met, this van pulls into my driveway at Peacelands. It's a blue van, American license plate, New York, Sear. Whew, it comes in and it goes breezing by me. And I, oh no, he's gonna hit the tree. And then it slides and then it stops. And out pops this guy. Other side, his partner at the time. And I thought, okay, where I thought there was one, there's two. So I said, Ted, he said, Barb, I'm here. I said, I see that. And I think we're stuck. And I said, don't worry about it. Just leave the van. Don't worry about it. We'll get the men to help when it's time for you to go. So when he jumped out of the van, the door swung open and it was like this man was riding one of those air machines. And he was floating literally about a good 8 inches to 10 inches off the ground. That's pretty amazing for a bear. That's pretty amazing for a medicine bear. And I thought, oh, what am I going to do with this, teacher? And we've been friends ever since. We were also privy to do some work in Sarnia, Ontario. And it's, there's a border crossing there as well, the Blue Water Bridge. And a lot of ceremonies are done there. And Ron Yellowman comes to mind of one of the grandfathers that took care of that space and that time. And Ted and I are in Sarnia. Of course, the thunders are there, and the rain and the wind and all that. That goes with Ted before him and after him. And my job was to be with him as a helper in this time he was doing the work for the people in Sarnia. And it had been something like 13 years since he had been there. So he was about to have sittings with daughters of the mothers, of the grandmothers he had seen many years before. So very important work. And during the storms and rain, lightning, and I'm driving, and all I know is I have to get this man, my teacher, my friend, this bear, back to the hotel safely. And we are driving through deep, deep water, and it's hard to see. The wipers are going like this. And then Ted is still riding Spirit, and he's still working technically. And he said, "It's okay, Barb, just go right on through. Just go, it's okay." And I stopped at a four-way stop, and I looked over at him, and I said, "Ted, Barb," I said, "not everybody's driving through Sarnia with a bear in their passenger seat." Oh yeah, I forgot. And then we were able to journey on. I knew I had to use care. I knew I had to get him to the bear cave. These are some of the experiences I've had with the grandfathers. And Tom Porter, "Barbie, you don't need me anymore." I said, "Tommy, yes, I do. We'll always need you, Tom Porter." And he's the lead for the Confederacy, the top spiritual leader for the Confederacy. And I was privy to meet him at 18. And we worked together the last 5 years in Ottawa, Canada. So when I looked over at him when I was 18, he was a teacher of the language at Kwasasne, St. Regis. And then when I looked over all these years later, he was there. We were shoulder to shoulder and heart to heart in doing the business for our people, for the government of Canada. I've seen much, and I am blessed. I see some men on the TV this afternoon. I see you. And I would like to honor the men, the grandfathers, the uncles, the dads, those special ones who are our protectors, and the men who guard the families. During the time of residential school, boarding school, US side, they took the children out of the nucleus of the families. They didn't start on the outside, they started right in the center, so that the women saw the babies, their children going, and fell down in pain. And then the men on the outside had to look in and see the children and the women down. What pain that must have been for our protectors. The grandfathers, those that have been around, protecting our sacred sites since the beginning of time. The medicine men that sacrificed for the sun dance. And on that fourth day, when those medicine release from the tree, it said that one time it was so powerful that it knocked the hydra out, in all 5 Indigenous Mohawk communities at the same time. Grandmother Sarah's story. They tell me I talk in parables. They tell me sometimes I don't make sense, and that's okay too. A lot of times I don't make sense, so sometimes it's probably a bonus. But as long as whatever they're saying through me, through you, makes sense, that's the most important thing. What you take away, what you hear, what's meant for you will be heard and will be stated. So I trust that. And I have faith in all those people that have loved me and I have loved. I have faith in them. They're going to get us through this time. But it is a great purification. And the old ones stated it would be, and it is. There was a time they said, maybe we won't see it, but you will. I remember sitting with many of them, and they said that. Then in 50 years, it changed to, maybe this is a time we all will see. And I think each of us can proclaim that a truth. So we're leaning on the grandfathers, we're leaning on the men to heal, to remember, and to do. I've known some very beautiful men. And Grandma Sarah would say, Barbie, it's okay if the men wear pink. Who said they can't wear pink? Who said our men cannot cry? Who said that? Who made it so that our men had to be emotionless? I have known the men of my nation, the Mohawk Nation. I have known them to be very sensitive. I have known them to have big hearts. I have known men of the other nations, the other 5 nations, to be equal in their emotional caring, the depth of their hearts, and the sensitivities to life. Grandfather Leon Sacratero brought through ceremony, brought through those colors for men's healing, for all nations. One of the gifts he gave to the men before he moved to the other side. So Ted Silverhand, this song goes out and we're going to dedicate it to you because we love you and you're just the best bear we all know.
Ho, 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 way, oh, hey, ho, ho, way, oh, hey, ho. Diowani, Diowani, oh, Di, now, ya. Ho, 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 way, oh, hey, ho. Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. Diowani, Diowani, oh, Di, now, ya. Sweet grass for peace of mind, sage to clear your soul. Prayers carried through the smoke, a quest to make you whole. Ho, 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 hey, oh, hey, ho, ho, hey, oh, hey, ho. Diowani, Kai o wani o, kai naui ai. Grandfather's watchful eye follows me around. Grandmother's loving arms to hear her sweet sound. Ho, 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 way, oh, hey, ho. Ho, hey, oh, hey, ho. Daiowani, Daiowani, oh, Dainawiaya. Dancing on mother feet, never leave the ground. On searching for all of us, peace will be found. Ho, 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 hey, oh, hey, ho. Ho, hey, oh, hey, ho. Daiowani, Daiowani, oh, Dainawiaya. Ho, 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 hey, oh, hey, ho. Ho, hey, oh, hey, ho. Daiowani, Daiowani, oh, Dainawiaya.
So the voice you hear to my right is a good friend and helper and single mom of 4. She's also a medicine girl too, and she has been at my side for over a decade now. And I remember when grandmother Sarah was at the nursing home in Six Nations, I would bring in a girl and grandma would look at her, and I would bring in another girl and grandma would look at her. And then I brought in Jenny and grandma Sarah looked at her and gave the approval. So it's been an honor to sit with her through the years and to be able to start to transition the information. For this is how the matriarchs have done it. We have never taken it all with us. We've always presented it so that there would be wisdom left behind for the unborn. So I like to tell people, you see me, I don't know how I look on TV, but you see me, yeah, but really it's just, me. Who you hear is not me. Who you hear is them. When I was learning in my community as a young girl, all the kids were out playing and I was beside my grandmother and my mother in the house. And when the old ones would come to visit, I would be the one doing the care for their legs and their feet and their hands and anything else they needed. And I know this rings a bell with many of the women listening today. I didn't understand then what was happening, but I knew that my mom and my grandmother needed me to help them. And I love them so much That's all I needed to know. So as the elders would come into the home during the time of oppression, when we weren't allowed to speak the languages in the communities or anywhere else for that matter, my parents, my mother and my grandmother were part of a traditional group in my community, and they would meet house to house to house to house. And a lot of the tradition and a lot of that transcended underground. And this is how they did it. You would drive by someone's house in the 60s. There would be no cars, so you would not know that they were meeting. The elders would arrange it so that they would be dropped off at different times. So from the outside, it didn't look like anybody was in the house. And they still use that to this day. But on the inside, the house would be full. So I was privy in my community to grow up with my peers. And at the time, my peers were all over 50. So my learning and the stretching of my mind and my heart began with these aunties and uncles and different families in the communities, specifically lands of the peacemaker. So my family, we were poor. We were numbers, like there must have been 9 children. We lost 1, 8 children, our parents and their grandmother in one little house. We were very, very poor, but rich in love and rich in tradition and rich in kindness to others. So I guess I wasn't that poor, was I? So I learned to love the old people from a very young age. And as a matter of fact, when I met some of my other teachers, in 7 years, I had lost a nucleus. They transitioned. In 7 years, I lost a nucleus of 14 people. In 10 years, I lost a nucleus of 20. And through the grace of God, my Creator, I had the good sense to listen to what I was being told. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I chose to. I had to walk away from a career. I had to walk away from what I knew after 25 years of service to education to my community. I had to leave all that behind and step out into an unknown. So I loved them so much, of course, there was no thinking about that answer. I had to go. So I put my students, my peers, my colleagues at the school on hold. But I knew it was the right thing to do. That's one thing I did know. And I knew it had to be me to do it. So I made that decision, and in 2009, and I was able to be of service to the 14 plus the 6 over a decade. And I was with them during their most challenging of times. I was with them during their happiest of times. And I was with them when I was asked to come. I never forced myself on them. I never negated my duty and my responsibility to them. I did the best that I could. And Creator gave to me about 2 weeks, almost between each one, a time to rest, a time to regroup, and a time to be ready for the next one. So needless to say, I put grief on hold. I put grief on hold for a very long time because I would have been of no good service to the next if I had delved into the emotions of losing someone you love. So for me, again, I was privy to some very sacred moments. Words cannot express the sacredness of being with someone at a time where they no longer need you, but at the transition of the next. It's a very sacred and holy time. And I was gifted all that. So now I sit before you this afternoon, May 2nd, 2021. They're all gone, but not really. When you love someone, whether it be a mother, an auntie, a sibling, an uncle, a grandfather, a friend, love is love. And if you love them, you'll do anything. And that is what I did. So we all have grief. And what do we do with that? And through spirit, I was kind of like, they would allow me to grieve just before so that I could be there when it counted for them. Not for myself, for them. So one of the women by the name of Evelyn Moses, a long liver with regards to lineage. And she said, Barbie, I don't want you crying around, because you'll be no good to me if you're crying around. So that was a grandmother and auntie's way of telling you. So she cleared the air there. And it wasn't until the moment after she transitioned that I did cry. And she was the one from my community that said, Barbie, there's a book here. It's on the table. You take a look at it. And this was after coaxing me down in the morning for tea. So I finally gave in to her, right? I knew better not to. So I went to see her. And in the book, on the outside was a title, but I just started to look through the book. And I saw Uncle Doug. I saw Grandma Sarah in the book. And I saw Chief Orwell Looking Horse and others in the book. Then I looked back at the cover of the book and it said on the title, Wisdom Keepers of the Americas. It was in that moment that I found out who Grandmother Sarah Smith was. And my friend Evie Moses said, Barbie, just think of all the people this woman knows in the whole world. She chose you. Well, that didn't make me feel any better. I just was all of a sudden inundated with, what is this? I did not know. And I started to shrink on the chair. I started to get very small. And I said, Evie, she said, Barbie, the moment of truth. So I got in my car and I went to Six Nations of the Grand River Territory. where all 6 nations are represented there at those lands and that waters, Grand River. And I got to Grandma's house, and I was just about to knock, and I hear Sarah, Grandma Sarah, saying, "Oh, Barbie, come on in." I went in, and she's doing dishes in the kitchen. She said, "Barbie, I'm in the kitchen, come on in." And I went in, and I must have been very quiet or something, because she said, "Barbie," she didn't even turn to look at me. She said, "Barbie, what's the matter?" And I looked and I said, "Grandma," I said, "I found you." I said, "I found you in a book. Wisdom Keepers of the Americas book. And why didn't you tell me?" And she stopped washing dishes. She did a pivot, the tea towel to dry her hands. She put the tea towel down. And then she said, "And Barbie, if I had told you, what would you have done?" I know, yeah, that's right, exactly. I would have run out of there as fast as possible, because I didn't feel worthy of being in the future in any kind of book, especially one that had the title Wisdom Keepers of the Americas. And I certainly didn't feel that good about myself that I could be anything near close to a grandmother Sarah Smith. Beautiful. She would put on the regalia, and she would pick up her sage, she would pick up her bundle, and I would just be in awe, because her presence was pure peace. Her presence was pure love and friendship. Real, real. Not something that would just last, for a year or so. She was genuine, she was real, and she was a grandmother. She was my grandmother and yours. A grandmother to us all over time. So she was the one that gave me the stories about her distant cousin, Ted Silverhand, and Tonto, Jay Silverheels. I used to always get Silverheels and Silverhand mixed up. And it wasn't until the day that I met Ted Silverhand in the air that I realized my grandmother's love for me. So as she knew her time was coming to more of a close, she ensured that I would have the assistance of some great medicine people. So when I first met that Ted, I knew, because Grandma gave me the stories, but I had no idea. And it's a good thing I met Grandma before I met Grandfather Ted Silverhand, because she got me ready for the whole encounter. And the wisdom that flowed through Grandfather Ted was endless and fast. The pace of the listening and the counsel he had around him, sacred. There is no way I would have been ready for that kind of majestic healing, majestic teaching, if it hadn't been for the prep time by the grandmother Sarah Smith. So that's how I got to know Ted, and I see he's still here with us on the screen. And I value my teacher and my friend. He has been very patient with me in my learning and my sometimes short attention span. I continue to work on that all the time. But the knowledge, the grace, and the wisdom I have been privy to has been at an utmost fulfillment. So what I try to do is I try to give to others what was given to me through our interactions, through prayer, through being in the moment, through remembering to be in the moment. There's so many teachings we all know, we've heard time and time again, and to make the applications in the thinking, the doing, and the seeing. So I'm kind of a new kid on the block, the kind of youngest of the elders in my circle and this circle. My role is to ensure I do my best to make sure the older elders are looked after, cared for, their needs met, and to continue to learn. Grandmother Sarah transitioned in March, and I was given 3 months to regain composure, to ready, and then I got a phone call to continue to be of service, and I accepted. So as the ancestors surround me, they too surround you. And from time to time, remember them, think of them, think to them. For we must never forget that if not for them, Grandfather William Commanda, as I look to Ramola's eyes, we must never forget them. Don't be afraid to use their name after the 1 year. Don't be afraid to use their name. Because the people we've been privy to be with have been exceptional. Because they sought spirit from the beginning to their movement to the other side. And when Grandmother Sarah took me on a trip, and the whole time, from the moment I sat in that car to the moment I crossed the border, to the moment we did the function, to the moment I come back, crossed the border, and got out of that car, she put me through my paces. She tested me in every way possible. And I thought, I wasn't sure who I was going on the trip with, because I was sitting with so many different people. And she took me down to her friends in the Carolinas, North Carolina. And I was on that Black Mountain with her people and doing my best to serve, but realizing that, you know, I'm making a whole bunch of mistakes here, and Grandma's mad at me. And how am I ever gonna get back in Grandma's good graces? But I was tested, and rightly so. The responsibility of hearts in the hand is big. And the ego cannot influence the decision of the heart. So my ego was bashed all the way from 6 Nations of the Grand River Territory, all the way down to North Carolina and back. And as soon as we crossed the border, Grandma came back. Barbie, would you like a Tim Hortons coffee? And I said, yes, Grandma, because she knew that was one of my favorites. And then she said, Barbie, what just happened? And I thought, don't even answer because I don't have a clue. Just sit here quiet, drink my coffee, and just be glad I made it back alive. She said, Barbie, coffee went down. I'm teaching you to deal with all types of people. That's what I'm doing. So let me do that. You drink your coffee and let's go home. So, yeah. And as I sit down with high government, so many different titles, so many different individuals, so many different human beings, so many different leaderships, levels, and things. I sit down there and I think to myself, that Ted Silverhand got me into this. Because he was the one who said, Bart, come on down to Ottawa. And I said, okay, Ted. He said, it's going to be like the New York Minute. It's very quick. We'll try to do as much as we can traditionally within the time frame and their structure. And I said, okay, Ted, I'll come. So that's how I got down there. And Ted and I have served there for him for a number of years, myself for 6. And with grandmother Sarah Smith at Six Nations, when those residential school survivors under the umbrella of Jan Longboat and Sarah, when truth and reconciliation from a survivor's point of view was first being carried on the waters, it was the leadership of those women. So in the last 6 years that I have been honored to serve, I have seen the manifestations of the grassroots women, those grassroots initiatives from all across Canada form and carried truth and reconciliation. Senator Murray Sinclair, who has now just been appointed the Chancellor of Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. So truth and reconciliation, murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls. Indian Day School, 60s Scoop, child welfare. All this has transcended in 6 years. The United Nations Declaration of Indigenous Peoples is now at a parliamentary level. That ceremony happened over 2004, 2006 at Six Nations of the Brant River Territory. The top spiritual leaders from all over the world were brought into form. They like to give it the acronym UNDRIP. Well, I don't know what an UNDRIP is, but I do know what the Declaration of Indigenous Peoples is, because I was there. And I saw the many grassroots leadership form through ceremony and through meetings. The Mayans, the Hopi, the Navajo, Lakota, Dakota, Nakota, the Cree, those from Brazil, those from the high mountains of Colombia, the Kogi Mamas. All these ones came in. This declaration of service to the earth, mother, and to the sky will not fail. And it is because of the work of every single face I see on this screen and associates. And when Grandfather Couchane sanctioned, built that fire, and now we have a turtle lodge to the west under the care of his son, David Couchane. If it wasn't for them determining that we must always be mindful of ensuring the wisdom gets passed generation to generation to generation, so no oppression will ever take away a nation. And that is the responsibility of each and every one of us. I can see and I can feel the wisdom as I look at each picture, each person. They sacrifice too hard, too much for us to not carry it well. And I'm grateful that when I lost that 14 people, and then the 20 people, and then I looked around and there were no people. And then time went by and I look up this last year on the screens and there's lots of people. So I don't feel so alone in the work. So the leadership, we have to stay together. You know, we have to create more leadership because I'm the tail end of generations. And I look around and I don't see too many of myself. What I mean by that is I was raised all the way up and through. And we're dwindling that way. We're losing our elders at a phenomenal rate. And we got to get to them. We got to spend time with them. We got to love them the way they deserve to be loved. And we got to bring them home. Right, Susan? We got to bring them home. As Susan has brought Brant home. Not going to be easy, but he's home. So I ask each of you to remember me, to pray for me in my journey, in my community, and down in Ottawa. I ask you to pray for me so that I can continue to serve without embarrassing anyone or myself. Ted Silverhand. Although I have been known to do that on occasion, so that's okay. I've got big shoulders and thick skin thanks to those mohawks. So we're doing okay, everybody okay? And I want to take a break for a moment, and I would like my love to resonate through to each of you. Because I see I'm not so alone. I see so many people out there doing the same thing, if not more. And I value you because I know what it took to be presented on the path of beauty, the path of enlightenment, the path of love, the path of family. And I guess, having said that, I see they're all in agreements around my table. That's a good thing. It's good to have the ancestors in agreements. The consensus of the whole that we're doing okay. So as we go into this next song, I want to stretch your minds and hearts to that of Brazil, India, Pakistan, Italy, the US, Alberta, Canada. These are the places that are being tested by that opposite spirit. We are love, and we are light, and we are the ones who work for the Creator. Above all else, an entire confederacy of ancestors. Sure. How am I doing, Susan? Did we put in our time yet? I hope I haven't embarrassed you, Mr. Silverhand. I love you.
Perfect.
I waited till I saw the sun.
Good sound.
Don't know why I didn't come. I left you by the house of fun. Don't know why I didn't come. I don't know why I didn't come. When I saw the break of day, wish that I could fly away. Instead of kneeling in the sand, catching teardrops in my hand. My heart drenched in wine, but you'll be on my mind forever. Out across the endless sea, I would die in ecstasy, but I'll be a vagabond, driving down the road alone. My heart is drowned in one, but you'll be on my mind forever. Something has to make you run. I don't know why I didn't come. My feel as empty as a drum. Don't know why I didn't come. I don't know why I didn't come. I don't know why I didn't come.
That's our Jenny. So as the afternoon winds down, as the clock indicates we're coming to a close, I want to say it's been a pleasure to be a part of your lives this afternoon. And I want to say that the ancestors are so with you as you engage. I was always taught a respect for the unseen. I was always taught a respect for the Confederacy. I was always taught to be kind. Chief Earl Hill, in all your dealings, be kind. And I really try to use that when I work with bureaucrats. Great patience is required, let me tell you. But you know something? They don't mess with me because of all of them. And because of truth. And because I got a big bear in my corner, Ted Silverhand. And now I have a Congress of women that are kind enough to mother and grandmother me. And most importantly, I have a creator that determined this a long time ago, which had nothing really to do with me, my say for myself. So I'm gonna do my best. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna keep going. And I'm going to learn and relearn. And I'm going to continue to think of each of you in my walk. So because I've seen your lovely faces today. So if you come today to see me, then I was thinking, well, they'll probably be there then for you, Barbie. And that's good. Because there's nothing stronger than power. There's nothing stronger than kinship. There's nothing stronger than spiritual love and manifestation. Boy, that's Sarah. Isn't she good? Well, and I'll just think all I have to do is get here and just, open up. And I don't have to do anything. It's really them. And I'm grateful for that always. But as each of you go into your Sunday afternoon and your Sunday evening and the tomorrows, just know that I've had a very peaceful time. I trust that we have presented to you in a way that's understood. And take what you need. You don't have to take it all, Sarah would say. Just take what you need and don't give up. And lean on each other. So I guess maybe we'll do one quick song, Susan, to close, and then I'll give Susan back her role, her job to tie us up. And I just wanted to say, that's I told you my Mohawk name, which is precious fruit. It means Wahinono. And I want to thank you and welcome to my clan, welcome to my nation, and welcome to my heart.
Wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, uya ya hey, uya ya way oh hey, wahia hey, wahia hey, wahia wahia hey. Wahia, wahia, hey. Wahia, wahia, hey. Kuya, ya, hey. Kuya, oh, hey, oh, hey, wahia hey, wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, kuya ya hey, kuya ho hey oh hey ya. Wahia hey, wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, kuya ya hey, kuya ho hey oh hey ya. Wahia hey, wahia hey. Wahia wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, wahia wahia hey, kuya ya hey, kuya ho hey oh hey ya.
Thank you
It's all
both.
yours, Susan.
Thank you both so much. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for bringing everyone here. Thank you for bringing those in the circle in the council, also for bringing them here as well. Thank you for that. I want to again say just briefly about the crystal, how we saw the canoe that was coming and bringing in, picking up the elders to take over to the other side. And that was the day that Leon Secretaro crossed, grandfather Leon. And there are no coincidences that they were all here this day. So thank you for bringing them. I also wanted to remind everyone about Shahawin. When she spoke, she talked about her father, Rolling Thunder. And she talked about the first wave. And on the first wave were people like Mad Bear and Rolling Thunder and Leon, grandfather Leon, and William Commanda, and all those who were on that first wave. And then she told me later that Ted Silverhand lingered, come and help us on the second wave. And when I hear you talking of him and Joanne Shenandoah speaking of him, and when I speak of him, it's the same to me, that there's such gratitude that he is there to help us at this time for that transition. So today, I wanted to bring up the waka, the canoe, that we are definitely all in this canoe together. And you, Barbara, are never, ever alone. You are surrounded by so many who love you. And I'm grateful to be able to know you and to have had you here today. And I also want to thank you because the River Sidon Peace with Justice Project is actually founded on the Indigenous Declaration of Rights from the United Nations. And 3 of those articles that are the protectors of the Mississippi River are what we do, and the children and the women. And so I thank you for that as well. There were so many things in this time that you gave us of your life that I know resonated with everyone, because I've seen the heads nodding and I've seen the smiles on their faces, and I'm so thankful for that. And I would like to, just before I turn this to Rodney, I would like to invite everyone to keep 2 of our grandmothers in their mind and heart. One of them is Shahawin, who I just mentioned. Shahawin has just come out of the hospital. She had a heart attack and she's in recovery now, and we need prayers for her. And then the second one is grandmother Kukum Elizabeth Babin, who has had a major serious operation. I haven't heard yet. I know that yesterday her family was asking for prayers. She's a grandmother on our Turtle Island Council. And so I would like to invite that we keep both of those grandmothers in our hearts this day, and also all of your relatives, all of those who you have and your friends who you know of that are going through this time right now and being challenged. May we also keep them with us in our hearts as well. And throughout this week, may you all walk in beauty, as Ted often says to me, and as well, do nothing to embarrass myself or Creator is my prayer. And I love you, Barbie. Thank you for that. And with that, I turn it over to you, Rodney.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much, Barbara. That was so beautiful, so wonderful. I'll close with prayer. Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, how grateful we are to once again be inside this sacred circle with our most sacred elders. I am so moved by Barbara's commitment through her whole life. Her whole life. She gave up her childhood to remember the stories to teach us. So these stories may not be forgotten. So we may carry on this knowledge, this wisdom. We're so very grateful for people like you, Barbara, for people who have committed their lives and sacrificed so much so we may have so much. I am so grateful. I thank you so much for this. I thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us, for sharing your heart, for sharing your love. You moved me, and it was a beautiful thing. I took away much wisdom. At this time, I also bring to Creator and Mother Earth, Shaha Win and Elizabeth Babin. I ask Creator that if it is your will that you give our elders a few more years with us so we may learn from these elders in the magnificent ways that Barbara has shown us today. I'm so grateful for this circle. I'm so grateful and love you all so much for attending and growing with us. I thank you. I thank you, Creator. I thank you, Mother Earth, for this time together. We are grateful. Aho. See you next weekend, everyone.